able to make it. And we have a bunch of fellows here as well as a couple members from the honors program staff. We have Ms. Lopez as well as Ms. Sandel here to answer questions as needed. And just during the presentation, feel free to type in any questions in the Q&A. So yeah, I'm gonna go pass it on to Purnima for a quick little activity before we begin.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us in week 10. I know it's a lot, it's pretty busy, but we wanted to do a really quick check-in before we got into the content for today. So if you want to go ahead and navigate to menti.com, you can use this code that I have at the top of the slide and just answer, how has your week 10 been going? I know it's basically done, so maybe how are you feeling for finals week as well? But yeah, let's start with that. Scary is valid. I too am very scared for finals. Busy, tired. Well, thank you for still joining us despite everything that I'm sure you all have. We're excited to have you. Friday's always best day of the week. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the same thing. Well, hopefully this is like a nice break from all your studying and work. And I think we'll give it like a minute more for your responses, but we can go ahead and get started after that. Yeah, I think that's all the responses. And I think we can go ahead and get started with the content.
Yeah, so just before we begin, I just want to give a little quick introduction on who we are, the Honors Fellows. So we're just a team of students focused on enriching the honors program by offering essential resources and fostering a sense of community within the honors program. And our mission is essentially to cultivate a supportive atmosphere that encourages academic achievement as well as personal development among honors students. And we've hosted a bunch of events in the past, if you've seen our scavenger hunt, as well as our annual scholarship workshops, if you've came in the past, as well as photo shoots. And we're really excited to host more events next quarter and beyond. And yeah, so let's get started. I'm gonna hand it off to Gracie.
Yeah, so just to give you all a quick overview of honor scholarships, like maybe the slide is not, okay, now it's more up, awesome. So yeah, just an overview of honor scholarships. The application is going to be through the financial aid scholarship portal. The link's there, I'll send it in the chat right now in case you want to have it for reference, but also from personal experience, if you search just like UCLA scholarship portal into Google, it's like the first link that comes up. The main link for all UCLA scholarships. The honors scholarship applications are opening Wednesday, March 20th. So next Wednesday, and then they're going to be due Wednesday, April 3rd. So that's going to be week 1 of next quarter. So essentially what you're going to do when you enter that portal, you need to complete the general application first, which is just a requirement for any scholarships through like the UCLA scholarship portal. And if you've applied for any UCLA scholarships through that portal in the past, I believe they changed the settings on it, so it should carry over like your information from the past years. But the general application is just going to ask you involvement, questions about yourself, about your major, about you, and then once you complete that application, you'll be taken to the honors specific application with honors as specific questions and prompts. And then to be eligible, you need to be a college honors student in College of Letters and Science. This doesn't include incoming freshmen and transfers, since you're not, you won't be an honors student yet by the time you're applying. If you are applying to honors this cycle, you have to currently be a college honors student. So that's why incoming transfers or first year transfers and incoming freshmen aren't eligible. And then you also have to be returning for at least 1 or 2 quarters the next academic year. And then the only exception for this is graduating seniors, which we'll get into kind of any opportunities available for graduating seniors later, since those are a little bit different than the majority of the scholarships offered. And then any other kind of questions on how this scholarship is applied or how it's working. If you're staying for less or more quarters, you can kind of check in with your financial aid counselor if you have any questions on that, of how it's actually applied to your Bruin bill or things like that.
And here's just a slide kind of going over the benefits of applying. I know a lot of you are probably already convinced that you should apply, but it's still nice to go over the benefits just so that you know like what you're going to get out of applying to these scholarships. And the first and most obvious one is tuition assistance. This money can go towards helping pay for tuition or housing. And then second is research funding. So we'll go over this more later, but there are research stipends that are provided, and we'll go over how you can apply to those. And these definitely will help you, especially if you want to do research over the summer, or you're looking for a way to fund just staying over the summer. There's also recognition that you get from these scholarships. We know a lot of you put in a lot of work into your academic and professional careers, and this is a great way to get recognized for that. Last year, last spring, there was a reception, and all the recipients were recognized there. It was a great place to get to meet honor staff, the donors, as well as other gifted honor students. Also, applying to this helps you in the future. You get application practice. So it'll help you just get ready for future scholarships and funding opportunities. And another good thing about applying for the honor scholarships is that there's one overarching prompt, and this will qualify you for basically all of the scholarships that we have available. And so it's definitely worth it to apply. It's definitely worth your time. And finally, the last one is just kind of for you. You get kind of a reflection on your values. I know last year the prompt was to reflect on your why. And when I was trying to answer this, it really helped me think about my passions and how those were guiding me on my professional and academic journey. And it kind of just helped me later on as well, because this reflection actually helped me when I was applying for internships and other scholarships. So yeah, there's the money part of it, but there's also the connections you can make and the reflection that you can have as well.
Hi, I'm Rolla, another one of the honors fellows. And for the parts of the application, like Rossi mentioned, it starts with the UCLA Financial Aid Scholarship Program, the website, and then under that you can fill out the specific honors prompts for the honor scholarships. The personal statement is 500 words max, and it's about your background, personal interests, and your educational and career goals. And for the honors prompt in particular, you can submit an essay or an infographic or a video. So this part we do want you to get more creative with. And so there's also the opportunity to take on a more creative style. And also keep in mind that some scholarships might require extra documentation. So you have to also be sure to upload anything else that they might request.
Hi, I would like to go over the different types of honor scholarships that are available. So we briefly have three types. The first one are the senior awards, which are for students graduating in spring or summer of the current academic year. And we have two scholarships available for these. Next, we have scholarships for continuing college honors or college scholar students. And these are typically linked to the applicant background or field of study. And we have about 45 to 50 awards available. Lastly, we have the research scholarships, which require a short statement of endorsement from the individual who will oversee the senior thesis and a general thesis topic. And we have three awards available for these. I would like to note that the system automatically screens which opportunities students are available for based on the eligibility that you fill out on your eligibility questions. And the following slides include specific examples of scholarships from each of the three types that are found on the honors program's website for your reference. So these are the senior awards, followed by for current students, and finally we have the research scholarships.
And this is the prompt for this year. So you're given two quotes. The first one by American writer Ralph Waldo Emerson: "You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late." And then the second one is by Aesop, Greek fabulist, and it says, "No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted." So you can kind of see that the overarching theme this year is kindness, and you're going to have to reflect on that. And the prompt itself says, please select one of these quotes and discuss how it resonates with your life experience. For example, how has offering or receiving an act of kindness changed you? So when you're trying to answer this, I know a lot of people will be tempted to just kind of do the something that's more traditional, and look at, like, what volunteer acts have I been doing. But I think the point of this is really for you to reflect and ask yourself, what is kindness to you? And that's going to be different for every single person. So feel free to think outside the box. And when you're submitting your response, also feel free to think outside the box in terms of the format, because you're not just limited to an essay. You could also submit a video or an infographic. And then finally, as I said before, you'll be considered for all the scholarships by answering this prompt, for which funds are available. So definitely do it. It's definitely worth it.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about some tips for a strong application. So I was fortunate enough to receive an honor scholarship related to my history minor during my junior year. And these are some of the ways I went about tackling the prompt. So it's first of all, it's really important to put some thought into it. I love a good brainstorm, try to come up with some examples or connections to your own life that can really add color to your response. What isn't going to work is just copying and pasting from something you've already written. Honor staff can and the people who are reviewing these applications can tell when it's not an organic response. So it's really important that you think about it and come up with an original answer. Next, it's important that you're sincere and honest with your response. An open, honest response is going to be a more interesting read, and it's also going to give the people who are reviewing your application a better sense of who you are. Lastly, this isn't just an opportunity to toot your own horn. um, they will see your strong academic and extracurricular credentials, and you don't need to fill up all your words or the minutes of your video just talking about that. You'll be able to show them that you're deserving of a scholarship, not just because of your high achievement, but also because of who you are as a person. And so it's really important that you can convey that through your response.
Exactly. And to add on to that, this is supposed to be a chance for you to show us the human component of it. So we know a lot about you from the general application that you have to fill out before. This is the part where you dig deep and give us something personal. So we want you to reflect on your educational and personal experiences, and also make sure to directly address the prompt. So use the quotes that were given in the question, and make it personal by also not being too vague. So give specific examples. Matthew also shared that with you as well, brainstorming these ideas, thinking about the stuff beforehand, and making sure that whatever you come up with is engaging and personal and honest. It's not meant to be an essay. It's just meant to show us who you are. And this is why we also want you to show us your creative side with it as well. And you can choose to answer this question with words in a paragraph or with the infographic or a video. So fly high with your thoughts and ideas for this one.
So next we're gonna move into like honors research stipends. So these scholarships are like a little bit different. So you're eligible for them if you're in college honors, departmental honors, or departmental scholar student. So your research project can be conducted in a library, laboratory, or field setting. So it's open to research from any different kind of major. So you must be returning for at least 1 or 2 quarters in the next academic year. So that means next year, except if you are a graduating senior, you may be eligible for a partial reward. And the stipend can be used to cover research related expenses. Maybe it might help you reduce your time working. And something else to note about this is that if you are doing academic research for academic credit, you are not eligible for a scholarship. This is only for people that are doing research not for academic credit. And these applications are actually already open now, and they're due April 7th.
Okay, now I would like to talk about the requirements for the honors research stipend. So firstly, we have the application, which has all of the instructions and is available for download on the honors program website. And included in that is the student agreement form, the research proposal, a short biography, and a faculty sponsor agreement form. And in the application, you will also see that it has a letter of support as well. And I would like to note that the faculty sponsor agreement form has to be emailed directly from your faculty sponsor to the stipend coordinator as well. And the completed application for the honors research stipends must be submitted online by uploading all the materials to the honors summer research stipend 2024 box. So it's separate from the scholarships.
So as was mentioned, you do have to find a faculty sponsor. So if you are a current laboratory assistant, you can talk to your current principal investigator, and then they can be your sponsor. But if you're not currently in a lab, we recommend that you contact professors in your department or in related fields where you might be interested in doing your research. Attend departmental events and seminars to network with faculty members who might be able to sponsor you. We would highly recommend that you consult with your academic advisors or departmental administrators for assistance in finding a sponsor. So contact your counselor, see if there's any faculty that have sponsored students in the past, and really communicate with them about what you're interested in doing. Utilize your online resources and databases provided by your institution to identify potential sponsors. Another resource to find more faculty, and then clearly articulate your research proposal and its potential benefits to your sponsor. When you do this and when you're really trying to get this sponsorship, you want them to know exactly what you're researching, and you want to have a very clear idea of it for yourself so that you guys are really able to work on this and be productive on this.
So before we dive into the more specific Q&A, just to address some frequently asked questions. So first of all, international students are eligible to apply to these scholarships. You don't have to qualify for financial aid to apply. There are both merit-based as well as financial-based, potential need-based scholarships. And lastly, and as kind of was previously touched on, while the honors scholarships are restricted to college honors students, the research stipends are open to departmental honors as well as departmental scholar students as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Angel or Angelina. If you have any specific questions that haven't been already answered through this presentation, go ahead and please ask them now. There's the questions and answers section in the Zoom, I don't even know what to call it, option list, or you can just ask them right in the chat, and we'll just take a few minutes to answer any remaining questions that haven't already been answered.
While people are typing their questions, someone did ask me a question directly, but I thought it was a good clarification question that would be helpful to everyone. But they asked, are current first years this year eligible? The answer is yes. When we're saying incoming first years and incoming transfers are not eligible, we're referring to anyone coming in the following year. But the only thing with first years transfer students or any students at all is this: you must have already been applied and accepted into the honors program. So a common question a lot of times we get is like, oh, if I'm planning on taking honors courses or planning on joining the honors program next year, can I still apply? No, you cannot apply. But as long as you are currently an honors student in the honors program, whether that's college scholars or your transfer through the college honors program, then yes, you are definitely eligible.
And then I'm just going to answer a quick question I saw in the Q&A. Are the slides going to be posted? We are eventually going to post the slides to our website, but at the end of this presentation, we have a QR code that you can just scan, and then we're going to have we're going to either mail you like you're gonna have the option to get it mailed to you as well as joining our newsletter. So that's at the end of the presentation. Yeah.
And then another question that we had was, any past winners of scholarships present? How did they answer their questions uniquely and integrate their past volunteer experiences? I know one of you said that you had received an honor scholarship. I didn't know if anyone else in our group had received one. I would like to answer that.
Yeah, I can maybe speak to that one. So the prompt changes year after year to year. So the one that I answered was less related to volunteer experiences. It was actually about related to academic experiences and kind of what I was basically asking the applicant to reflect upon what they saw as the weaknesses of kind of our current academic system that prioritizes grades and things like that over student enrichment. And so one thing, the way that when I approached this question, I thought of professors or classes that I'd had at UCLA that kind of embodied what I thought were the academic values that I would want to see be more common. And so I kind of opened in discussing this professor that I'd had, Teo Ruiz, in the history department, who always said, it's not about the grade, it's about the learning. And so I kind of opened with his ideas on that and then kind of tried to build from there, from that example, to kind of then flush out my other thoughts on the topic. So I think that's really just important, just reflecting on your past experiences and trying to think of examples that could be both relevant and engaging or maybe interesting for the reader.
Yeah, just adding on to what Matthew said, I had won an honor scholarship in my freshman year, and I believe the prompt was something along the lines of like doing good through your education and through your major. And it was during the pandemic, and I had done the infographic prompt and talked a lot about just like my experiences learning online and how it kind of changed my perception of the world and tying in concepts from my classes and how to be good in the world, but also like smaller examples of like how to be good in the world through like building my relationships with my younger brother and things like that. So while Matthew and I's like responses across those different years are very different, I think one thing you'll notice in a lot of like good or like winning honors responses are they're not just like reiterating stuff from your resume, because the honor staff already has that from your general application. They have your activities. So again, it's best to not just like, a lot of students will fall into the trap of like, even though the prompts are like creative and wanting you to think creatively, they'll fall kind of into this trap of like doing another version of a personal statement and kind of reiterating their activities. So kind of it's designed to like write a fresh new essay and maybe incorporate things that aren't just about like your involvements or like reiterating your academic experience.
And then I also wanted to include, oh, sorry. Yeah, I also wanted to put this in the chat. If anyone is having or wondering like, how do I write a really competitive or successful response to the application, and you're having issues with maybe your writing or seeing if you address the prompt accurately, the Undergraduate Writing Center is absolutely fantastic, and you can book an appointment with them to get free writing help for this or for anything you need academically. So I'm going to include their website. It is through UCLA and it's free, but if anyone needs help, even with finals coming up or with this application in general, I highly recommend that you utilize that resource on campus.
I'll go. That was great. Thank you so much for reminding students about that resource, because a lot of students just aren't aware. I did want to just answer very quickly the timeline question about when students hear. Typically, we like to release it about mid-May is usually when students hear. On occasion, the timeline has shifted. Administrative delays be what they are for whatever reason. It has been a little later, but at the mid-May is usually the point that we tell students.
I think we can move on to our next question. Does anyone have that pulled up?
I can answer. I see a question. I'm sorry, they're going kind of fast, so it may not be in the right order, but I see a question. What if the research you're doing is for academic credit, but what if the research is currently not academic credit, but will be in the future? This is a great question. So didn't mean to answer for you, Hazer. Hazer's the stipend coordinator. But the stipends were actually set up for students who happen to be doing a senior thesis later on in the year. So a lot of them do their research before, and they're not getting academic credit for it. So as long as you're not getting academic credit for the research you're doing in the time you're receiving the stipend, i.e. in the summer, you can apply for it. So a lot of students do the research before, they get their academic credit later, and that's totally fine. Does that make sense?
Are there any other questions that popped up in the chat or the Q&A? Someone wants to go ahead. I can't see them right now, so.
Yeah, there was one I just saw that popped up in the chat. Can you also reapply for the scholarships? Yeah, so like every year, whether you get one or not, you can always reapply and be, eligible and in that pool of scholarships. So yeah, you can definitely reapply.
There aren't any more questions, which someone stop me if there are. I will move ahead to the next slide.
I did just get one direct question.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me see. What if I'm getting research class credit now, but don't plan on doing SRP next quarter? So if you're not, don't plan on doing this, you don't have to be doing research in the following quarter to get a stipend. As long as you're not getting academic research, like the stipends are for the summer. So as long as you're not getting academic credit during that time, you should be good to still apply for it. There's just a conflict of interest. So it's like the university is like, okay, if you're doing research, you will receive academic credit. But if you're also getting money and academic research, that's like, a little on the shades. So it's either or. That's how that works.
And I just want to add, so I'm going back to, I think one of the questions we touched on earlier, which is just someone's looking for kind of feedback and like what did past winners do. I won a scholarship actually last year. I know I talked about it briefly, but it was reflecting on your why, which was it was a TED talk, and then I don't know, some of y'all probably remember the prompt, but it was really reflecting on like your why. Why do you study what you study? And what helped me with that was I remember I actually spent more time than writing. I actually spent reflecting, and I talked about reflecting before, but the more I guess organic your response is, the more that you can really speak through your writing, and it's like specific to you. I think the better that is, and the more compelling it is for the honor staff when they read your application. So I would just put a lot of time into your response and really make sure that um, you're really speaking from your heart. I guess that's kind of vague advice, I know, but especially when like this prompt is talking about kindness, it's easy to just talk about volunteering. But I know that kindness doesn't kindness is different for everyone, and really try and think of examples in your life, I'd say. And they don't have to be conventional examples either. And I think the more organic it is, the better that your application will be.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what Kaylin's saying there, I think in terms of, the prompt is very broad and open-ended, and that's kind of the point. So think, if at all possible, try to convey how you think or how you approach a problem with how you answer it. So I think it's a good opportunity for the people reviewing your application to kind of get an insight into how you think about things. And so it's super broad on purpose, and then that's an opportunity for you to think, okay, like how can I make this smaller? How can I make this more relevant for me? Or how can I kind of attack one part of this that I'm interested in? So I think you can it's kind of a way of self-expression and to think of it in more of a positive sense of like, oh my gosh, there's so many different options. It's also like, hey, I can choose how I want to tackle this. And I think the more, like Caleb was saying, the more unique or organic way that you're able to do that, the more interesting that's going to be in terms of an app for the people who are reviewing it. And that's probably going to serve in your interest in terms of helping your application.
And to piggyback off of Matthew's piggyback, I'd say that even if like you're answering the prompt, if you feel like your answer is, if it feels cliche, as long as you really feel like it's coming from you and it is organic, that's better than, changing it just to sound unique, So I'd say really just trying to be authentic with your responses.
I think
I'm gonna
probably
include in the chat also, but on UCLA's website in their undergraduate writing center, they have a like a general guideline worksheet for how to write a personal statement versus statement of purpose, kind of things to look out for, things to pay attention to. It's on my phone right now because I have it saved. I'm gonna post it here for you all to look at. That might help you if you're having issues writing this for these scholarships or grants, or if you're thinking about grad school in the future. It's also a really good tool that I used when I was applying to graduate school. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask.
thank you. That was a perfect conclusion, I think, to the Q&A. I think, yeah, that was our last question. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide just to close the workshop off.
Hi, yeah, so this was my slide. This is from a psychologist and psychiatrist that I have found incredibly interesting during my studies at UCLA as a psych major. And this is by Emil Koo, who is, a psychologist and a pharmacist who introduced a popular method of self-improvement based on optimistic autosuggestion. And it was called the Koo method. He prescribed the twice daily intentional and deliberate application of the mantra every day, and in every way, I'm getting better and better. It focused on the routine repetition of this expression, preferably as many as 20 times a day. Koo is adamant that curing some of our troubles requires a change in our unconscious thought, which can be achieved by using our imagination. He realized that patients whom he praised the medicine he would give them showed noticeable improvement versus patients to whom he said nothing at all. This is where he developed his beliefs on the power of imagination and why he stated that he has never cured anyone in his life. He has only showed people that they can cure themselves, enabling them to improve their character and attain a confident self-mastery. And this is a big thank you to the honor staff. We could not do this without you guys. We've all started here new and not knowing exactly what to do, and every staff member here has guided us all, helped us be able to teach what we're teaching you all now. And so just a big thank you to you all for your support and your help in our own academic success and with the fellows.
And nearing the end of the presentation, these are just a bunch of resources out here. I know there's a bunch of QR codes if you guys do want to take a moment to like either scan a few or take a picture. There's our social media as well as the office hours QR code that we recently launched this quarter, and we will be launching next quarter as well. There is also a QR code for a direct link for the scholarships and summer research stipends, so you can just have all that information right there, as well as our email, the honors website, as well as the honors fellows website.
Before we go, Krish, me and Hazer, oh, my English is awful. Hazer and I do appreciate the thank you, but at the same time, thank you, because these students applying love hearing from the past winners and the current other applicants. Like, I mean, I can talk my ear off, but I think hearing your intel about how you approach the scholarships and all the different resources, absolutely amazing. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, if you guys have more questions regarding the scholarships or the research stipends, feel free to message us via message center. We always check the requests that you guys send us, and we're more than happy to respond to any inquiries you guys have about the scholarships or stipends. The sooner you message us, because the deadlines are coming up, the better would be for you guys. Also, feel free to stop by the office. We're there Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So any question you guys have, please let us know. We'll be happy to help you.
Last tiny bit, I'm so sorry. You're all here on a Friday afternoon after 10th week. So obviously you're already overachievers. But I just really want to impart for you and to tell all your friends, please apply for whatever reason. I don't know. Our applications have been getting lower and lower every year. So definitely apply. You have all the tools brought to you by your wonderful fellows. Give yourself your shot. You know, we award a pretty generous amount of money every year. So you have a really decent shot. Last year, we only had like 160-ish applications and we awarded like 60 students. So one of those people can be you. So please apply, tell your friends, and you know, take a little time for yourself to reflect, enjoy the prompt. It's a fun one. I really like our prompt this year, and we can all think about kindness more in general. It's nice to think about it. So that's my little, I'll step off the soapbox, but thank you so much for coming.
And then we had just one last slide, one last QR code. Sorry about that. But if you did want a copy of the slides or you wanted to be registered for our newsletters in the future, you can just fill out that Google Forms, which is where the QR code will direct you. And yeah, in the future, if you do have any questions regarding honors, feel free to contact either the honors fellows or the honors staff directly through the message center. And thank you guys so much for coming to our presentation.